updating where we're at with the build here. I'm standing on top of the back loft subfloor. So we've got 2 lofts built, one in the front, one in the back of the cabin. And they are roughly the same size. The one in the back I think is 9 feet by 12 feet. The one in the front might be 10 feet by 12 feet. So they're built kind of using the same style we built our deck and floor with some joists across and then boarded in for a subfloor. So that's what I'm standing on. Behind me I've started to make the gable end on this end of the camp. So what I'm doing is I want it to kind of look like the rest of the camp, but I'm not doing it exactly the same way. So I've cut these beams, which are actually 10 inches tall by 4 inches wide. The main cabin was built using ones that were 10 inches tall by 6 inches wide. And I'm basically just stacking these on top of each other with 2-inch spacers between them. And then eventually I'll chink this as well. There's no dovetailing on these at all. And then, so what I did is I screwed in a board on the back so I have a vertical support for going up. And then I'm going to do these up a ways. And then as the roof gets built, they're going to be smaller and smaller as I come up to the peak. So that's the gable end on the back. And then the next thing we've done is we've placed 2 of these vertical posts that are 8 feet high. And then so that's going to carry the ridge beam. My ridge beam is going to be in 3 pieces and it's going to run the full length of the cabin. And so we're going to support these a bit better with some angled pieces and whatnot, but these are going to carry the ridge beam. And at the top of this, I'm going to have a 3-foot 6x6 on top, making sort of a T, and then that's what the ridge beam is going to sit on. And then I'll secure all that really well. And then if you go over to the side of the cabin here, I'm just starting this part, which is something called a knee wall, and that was recommended to me by one of my friends in the community who came down to look at the build one day. Initially, I was just going to do basically straight rafters from the ridge beam down to this big carrying beam, let's call it, just a straight rafter. But he suggested, and after thinking about it, I think it's a good idea to build basically a small wall here that's probably going to be about 2 feet high, and then run the rafters from the ridge beam to that. And ultimately what that'll do is just give me more space up here, so the space at the edge of the cabin where the rafters come down will be more usable space. And then this wood here is stuff that I'm going to be using either for the knee wall or the gable ends. And I'm going to make the knee wall in a similar way to how I made the upper carrying beams, where I use lap joints and bolt them together. And I'm just going to use 2-inch spacer blocks as well here. With regards to my knee wall, the knee wall is going to sit on top of these spacers, and then I'm going to lag bolt down into my carrying beam. And so again, the knee wall, I wanted it to kind of look the same with the chinking gap, so that's how I'm going to create the gap. I'll reinforce it really well, and then I'll probably have to build some other support just to keep it all really tight until the whole cabin is tied in together. But like a lot of this cabin, I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do, and then when I get to actually doing it, I figure out the specifics of how it'll work. But yeah, so anyway, these are just the spacers that I've put every 2 or 3 feet along the way to hold the first section of the knee wall, and the knee wall is going to be it's going to go spacer, a 10-inch by 4-inch beam, spacer, a 10-inch by 4-inch beam, so it'll go up 2 feet and a little bit. One thing I'll probably have to pay some attention to is just making sure that I reinforce the knee wall really well, because it is going to be carrying the weight of the rafters. My roof shouldn't be, well, it'll be heavy, but I'm going to make a metal roof, so I don't think that'll be as heavy certainly as shingles or something, but it'll still be heavy because I'm going to board it in with 1-inch spruce. And then I think I'm going to go 1-inch spruce, tar paper, insulation, strapping, metal roof, in that order from bottom to top. So anyway, my point was just that I need to make sure the knee wall is secured really well, because it's going to be carrying a fair amount of the weight of the roof. That's where I'm at up here.